for
if you see a mid laner here, you think it's AD Cannon. You know, otherwise, why not?
Yes, finally. Sorry, very excited. The win rate for Deft on Jinx is disgusting. Look it up. It is filthy. This guy is one of the best Jinx players in the world.
I believe he was 19-0 before he first lost against WE around summer 2015. Actually has never lost in Korea on Jinx. A lot shorter of a reign, but around MSI time when they famously beat SKT in the final, his Jinx was, of course, one of his big prized picks. So already KT showing us new stuff. Kalista versus Jinx. So many things about today you could not predict. You add this one to the list. Samsung, though, finally.
Yes.
My kingdom for a tank.
This is Samsung now. Like, finally, they're back. Here they are.
Nameplate is back on. We don't need to. I actually had my hand over the nameplate on our screen. I'm taking it away now. We finally have Nautilus Rise, so finally some normalcy for Samsung. We'll not be seeing the AD cannons.
And that's the Malzahar mid. Well, KT, still with a lot of fans here in the audience.
Star Guardian Jinx.
I'm so ready, Papa Smithy. I just hope that they keep the camera on Deft for the entirety of this game.
I don't know if the level 1 Jinx is perhaps the most exciting point, but come team fights.
This is Deft's Jinx. You need that slow upward curve.
I mean, when it is a Jinx, you know, team fights kind of become about Jinx because one kill famously, she gets excited and honestly wins the team fight from there. Or she gets squished quickly, so she's definitely going to be a focal point. And Stitch on his Kalista. Again, a very trademark pick from him back when he was in the AD carry position back in spring of 2016. KT fans, they got their flares up. They're feeling good.
We're praying for Smeb right now, but Smeb has certainly not been the problem this series at all. No need for prayers for that guy. Prayers need to honestly go to these 3 new members to the series over on Samsung Galaxy's side, and we'll see whether this is going to be the change that this team needed.
Yeah, when Stitch played and alternated between Stitch and Core JJ in spring of 2016, Kalista was his main pick, and he actually went very tanky on the Kalista. I remember Sterix Gauge and other tank items, or tanky AD items, just to do consistent damage. Play the Ruin King Hurricane is certainly going to be core tenets of the build, as well as they cannot afford another one-sided trade. And okay, the Q does come up short from Mada.
Yeah, thankfully he's going to short arm that one, so Stitch not going to take a whole host of damage, because at level 1, that Mantra Q does a bunch of work. One of the only champions to have 2 buttons at level 1. You cannot underestimate it. Titan's Wrath going to be used here by QV just to keep himself alive. So if you're a Samsung fan, be very happy that QV now on the big tank, now in his comfort zone, able to make things work. There's more rockets to fly out from Deft, but he's running low on mana.
Yeah, Deft had to use heal and his potion because of the early trade, and Stitch actually went longsword 3 pots. So he has a massive lead. For the first time, a bot lane duo has not been just completely in the hole compared to KT's duo. They actually are in a very controlling position, and Score probably needs to path bottom lane and maybe just go for a damage rotation and force some potions. Otherwise, a sustain advantage means you can play with reckless abandon if you're Stitch and Wraith.
And you can see Ambition. He's capitalizing on that as well. He knows that Score could be a little bit worried, but look at this health advantage, actually. Score spots him, but doesn't decide to go aggressive whatsoever. Just loses his Wraith camp.
Malzahar doesn't really have much to react with at level 3, so
not so much.
No pincer is going to come through, even if Score got a damage rotation off, so smart to use that time to just beeline for the Krugs and pick up some gold.
And now, what has been sort of the cornerstones of what KT have been doing to win these games? It has been dominating the bottom lane. Now the big test is to see whether they have a plan for when they're not able to do that. Because Deft, he wants to play for the late game now. He's on the Jinx. We know what his Jinx can do. If you make it to 35, 40 minutes into a game, he will win you the game by himself if he's in a position that's not too far behind. They do now need to get there, and it's going to be a different path, and we'll see whether it is going to be Samsung capitalizing on this change-up that KT do need to make on the fly.
You know, the crazy thing for Samsung fans and people who are looking for a 5-game series is, you know, finally it seems like a normal Samsung game. Yep, we see a tank for Kuve.
Yep,
the bot lane isn't just losing their turret 3 minutes into the game or what it feels like. It's gotten to normalcy, but it took 3 games. You know, the first game, you go for something different. It's not a big surprise in a best-of-5 where game 1 has some new picks and stuff that's been hidden, and you lose that one. But the fact that they went back to it 2 games in a row It's meant that Samsung have no more chances to sidestep. So we do get a very normal early game. Doesn't feel like it's going to be 25, 30 minutes like our first two games. You have to evaluate it on a different meter than how KT can close out games, because so far, gold star to KT on that one.
Oh, certainly. Do like what Pawn has done to sort of adjust to this, though. This slight change. Decides that he wants to have a lot of lane pressure. He's picked up the double Doran's ring just to continually shove this one out. Make sure that it's not going to open any doors. And this is what happens. If you lose that inherent pressure that you had towards the bottom side of the map, you need to create it somewhere else to still have control over this game. So I like the adaptation from Pawn, and we'll just see whether it is going to be enough here against Crown, because Crown still, he's the MVP for a reason. This guy is so, so good.
Realize the Andrews build probably going to be favored by Pawn, given there are a lot of health stackers on the side of Samsung.
Ooh, end of the line coming out on score. He's taking so much damage. Will have the blast plant, just safeguards his way to that ward. Decides that he doesn't need to use it, but this is good news. Oh, Crown took a heck of a lot of damage from Pawn.
Crown, you know, you can't really speak much about Crown's performance this series. It's been fine without making things happen.
Okay.
Deft's roamed over. A zap would kill Crown.
Certainly would have, but he actually just decided not to go for it there at all.
Didn't really have reliable vision, so could have gone for an optimistic one, but not to know if it was on cooldown or just not spotted by Deft.
Deft actually picking up a cheeky cannon creep and then moves back down towards the bottom side of the map. I think it's adorable, personally.
I mean, the standard Jinx roam at level 3 to mid lane.
Yeah, it's like, I don't like my mid laner very much. I'm going to take his cannon creep. Move on back. Well, that's a solo queue tactic that has been used against me before, and I get very, very frustrated.
Investing everything into Deft was a strategy that got EDG that MSI win, admittedly about 2 years ago now. 2 years ago now.
That and intelligent drafting. See whether that has anything to do with the couple of players that have now moved over here. Or back over here, of course. To KT.
Ambition's actually got a farming phase. You know, while you might very freely be able to criticize Haru for not being in position for counter ganks, not balancing farming and ganking or invading to the right degrees in his 2 games on the Rift, Score has not been able to make the same inroads that he could in Game 1 and 2, and admittedly not with a champion like Elise on Game 3, which has meant that Ambition can have the farming phase, because the reason why Haru was preferred over Ambition is, you know how Ambition's going to play League of Legends. He's going to farm, he's going to hit 3 items, and just like when he was a mid laner, he is great at mid to late game team fighting, and he helps the shot calling as well. So the fact that Ambition has kind of gotten away with not having to visit any lanes is very happy times for Samsung.
Yeah, and he's the level-headed guy as well. He's able to control what are most certainly nerves, given all of the pressure now on Samsung. So having that stability now is going to be very important in this do-or-die situation. And so far, with an early 200 gold lead, it is okay. But my eyes get drawn to that top side of the map where Smeb is entirely unanswered on this cannon. It's free to tear through this Nautilus. And can the Nautilus play econ mode? Just sit back, don't die, get the teleports, and get the control that Samsung Galaxy have been known for this end of the split.
We definitely haven't been able to give Cuvée a lot of credit for many things this particular series, but yes, I think we can confidently answer that that is something that plays exactly into Cuvé's strength. He's good at being denied. He's good at being a role player. His teleports are very reliable. Being 20 CS, 25 CS down on an 80 on-hit cannon is not a problem for a Nautilus who has a very cheap build path. Let's see if Ambition and the rest of Samsung can coordinate with Realm Warps, with teleports, the turret dives that have been the story of 2017 League of Legends, and try and actually get a first brick lead that has been just an impossible dream for them in Game 1 and Game 2.
Definitely. Bottom side of the map could be an opportunity for Samsung as well, because of course that lane has been pushing in for Stitch. Head by 10 CS, nothing like Deft's leads that he had over Ruler in the last 2 games, but such a good news story. As Deft does look like he is going for that Blade of the Ruin King. Going to be answered, of course, by Stitch. The classic Kalista build will certainly be that item.
Glad everyone has come to the consensus that yes, Blade of the Ruin King is a ridiculous item on this particular patch. I know there was a lot of disagreement on numbers, but a 1-item power spike has not been something that, you know, maybe when lethality was at its strongest, Ghostblade was a bit out of whack. Yep. But that meant Jin was really strong. That meant that like 3 champions were really happy, and all the auto attackers, like for example, the Jinxes, had no 1 item. They had to hit 3 items to be relevant. Now Blade of the Ruin King kind of equalizes it, and we have a new meta of champions that can build Blade of the Ruin King and have a 1-item power spike, like Kalista, like increasingly the Jinx, and champions like Jhin who cannot, and there's a reason that we do not see much Jhin anymore.
No. Did actually see a ban, but of course Ruler has always been a very good Jhin player, as Juve going very, very low. Smeb once again pushing him out of this lane. His teleport's available, but there is no way he's going to use that to get up here. Rocket is going to fly through, and Juve. That is why you don't go window shopping, everyone. That is what we have learnt today.
Hard to say whether it would have killed.
He would have had Titan's Wrath as well, I assume, if he knew that he couldn't move out of the way.
There was no call at all. Perhaps it would have, and has to teleport back to lane.
Big deal stuff. I do respect the teleport, I guess. I wouldn't have liked to see it, but it would have been a lot of health off the turret.
Exactly. You lose the turret, or you lose 80% HP, and then Lee Sin walks around, and you get dived and lose the turret. And they've already dealt with playing with no turrets, playing against First Brick 2 games in a row. They're not looking to make the same mistake 3 times.
Yep. So you can see Deft now able to at least survive in this lane, has himself the lifesteal with that Bilgewater Cutlass, behind a Combine on the old recurve bow. That's only 400 gold, so not feeling too bad. This Jinx, not expecting it to do too much here in this early game.
And matching CS with a Kalista when he had to use heal and his only potion at level 1, you're actually pretty happy if you're Jinx. Yep. It's not often picked for lane supremacy. Maybe against Sivir once upon a time, but not necessarily against Kalista.
Actually, there are backs coming in by the looks of things for this bottom lane. Wraith at least going to be going home, and Stitch going to move up towards the top side. They're actually looking for a gank onto Smeb, as Cube's gotten in so deep. Out goes Smeb, but there's the depth charge. Throws down the ultimate, wants to stop Cube from being able to get him. Fat Flash over that wall. PH Fat, of course, Papa Smithy.
The fattest.
Oh, yes. They're looking for ambition. In goes Mata. Flashes very, very aggressively. Score's going to go down. There are the Flame Chompers and first blood. First score. Deft gets excited, but not as excited if he had have picked up that kill. But success for KT, and once again, first blood for Score.
Momentary hesitation by Stitch when he was spotted means no sort of purchase on the top lane. No hesitation from KT. All inning on the bot side, waiting for the minion wave to walk up. It's level 8. 4 points in queue. Jinx. This should be a very fast turret for KT, although Mata can't walk up.
Another rocket, just looking for wave clear on this top turret, I think, as Cube, he could possibly go down here as he dredge lines his way out, knowing that turret is dead, but Deft gets excited. A lot of movement speed here as well from that Inspire shield. They're not going to be able to get the big tanky Nautilus with his couple of Doran's rings already. They are going to trade these turrets out, so Samsung at least now having an answer to KT's objective pressure.
Yeah, it's a trade down, but it's still a trade. Remember, they haven't been able to pick up trades at any point in this series. It's been objectives to one side and passengers on the other side. Crown respects the threat of Lee Sin and Malzahar. Rushes QSS. Does delay his scaling, though. And that means that he's going to be online a lot later than he would have liked. The 25-minute dream is going to become more of a 30 to 35-minute dream for the Rise.
Yeah. Really important thing here is when we're looking at the AD carries, Jinx is still more of a 3-item, 4-item AD carry, and Stitch will get very powerful. As soon as that Hurricane is picked up, he can dance around these fights. If they can get a mid-game fight where Stitch can be untouched and not nether grasp to death, maybe he needs that QSS before he gets anything else. His Spawn, he's going to get locked on, taking a lot of damage as Cube's going to turn up, and there's the ultimate. Crown uses his QSS to get himself out of it as Smeb, interesting teleport, but he's looking for Wraith, but this may have been too ambitious. There it is, speaking of which, the collateral damage comes down to the kickback. Crown's going to die, it's a 1-for-1 dredge line, but now here comes Deft. Cube in trouble. Rocket, he is going to get excited, and he's looking for ambition and Wraith. They go down low, last Rocket's not going to do it. And I know I'm getting excited, but man, if this Jinx is allowed to get any sort of snowball, it's a problem.
You should get excited because KT have the members advantage. Stitch is just pushing in top lane, has stayed too long. KT have the guaranteed 5-man advantage, and again, when Jinx can build attack speed, AD, and hits level 9, turrets shudder in her presence.
Oh yes, and now with the Blade of the Ruin King build, you have that attack speed so much sooner. You don't have to rely on that minigun to try and get the work done, and now Score, they're just going to take this free dragon because, hey, why not? The first dragon that they've taken so far this series.
Looked like it would finally be a traditional Samsung win after Smeb over-teleported and was in the middle, but Smeb was buying time for the collapse. Now let's talk about where this all starts. All this action starts. Jinx is in bot lane and Kalista is in top lane. Kalista chooses not to react, does not want to group, will not come and provide anything. And Deft gives up a lot of farm and actually setting up a proper push to come mid lane to clean up the fight. And that is just KT communicating better about what's happening. They did not have to invest Jinx, but they understood that, hey, you win this fight with a level 9, 5 points in Q Jinx.
Oh, there's the flash. Pawn's going to get knocked up here as well. Blade the Ruin King comes down, but oh, the safeguard isn't going to be up. No, of course not. Just pulls out the sticks, and the Ren's going to take him down. Score. He's not going to die from it, but Stitch showing that, yeah, if I am in a fight, mate, you are going to die.
Yeah, the if, though. The if is conditional. Yeah. Wasn't at the last one. Went back, picked up more items. They disrespected the one person who wasn't accounted for.
Look at what was invested, though, Papa Smithy.
Investments, he's looking very, very strong. Stitch, we know where this build is going. The build hasn't changed. Still going to be a Hurricane coming in second. Some situational stuff after that. Samsung looking for the push.
Yeah,
the
this
defense is
answer
on.
Could be huge, though, because this AD carry has absolutely nothing available. Remember, that ultimate is so useful. Try and save your support, things like that. Wraith now becomes far more easy to kill because he doesn't have flash and now doesn't have that ultimate to get himself out of the way.
Luluwalt probably not going to be enough if we ever do see Kennen get a good engage. Has flash available soon to Smeb. And compositionally, I want to talk a little bit more about the Jinx, because Jinx has always been, next to Kog'Maw, one of those Jugger champions. Juggermaw, Jugger Jinx, who are kind of the two big picks back in 2015. Back around that time, there wasn't a lot of Kennen in the meta, and I've always loved Kennen with hyper carries. Usually, of course, again, talking about AP Kennen, because if Kennen does one thing, it's occupy space. It used to be Rylai's Kennen in the middle of a fight, consistent stuns and slows, and Jinx, behind all that craziness, is free hitting, getting the AoE rockets in. On-hit Kennen does that job even better, because he still has the stuns. He has usually a frozen mallet as well. And basically, the job of Kennen is to occupy space, slow up the targets, set them up for the Jinx to spike down. And that is how KT want to play out their fight. So it's still a comp that's deceptively built around the Jinx.
Yeah, and it's still a snowball composition as well, utilizing the pick like they had in their last composition, but now they use the get excited to get more kills after that initial pick.
And it's a different type of snowball. It's not snowball like 2013 LeBlanc, get 10 kills or you lose the game. It's not a comp that falls off. It's one pick means so much more, and they have both single target deletion of Malzahar and someone like Jinx who profits off initial kill. So that's kind of how they go. So I agree. Their team fight phase is snowball, but you wouldn't necessarily call it a snowball comp.
Yeah, like the game doesn't need to snowball itself, but yes, of course, just in that team fight. Thanks for clarifying. And we'll see whether Samsung Galaxy can answer it as well, because they just need to make sure that they have the vision available to not get that first pick off, because
no one really wants to stand near this Blade the Ruin King Callista. They learned from the last time, but remember, it's only matching objectives, and no one's opting in to providing the cherry on top of a free objective.
Deft still, you can see, respecting Crown, but Crown's going to back away.
We're 17 minutes in, and remember, Rod of Age is not completed yet for Crown.
Oh, this is huge. Had to get that QSS so early.
Merc treads as well. Needs to be respectful.
Oh, good ward.
It's kind of a weird thing, because you always need the scaling as fast as possible, but you also need items to allow there to be a scaling phase. If he just rushes Rod of Ages and gets picked 6 times, doesn't matter if he has 10-stack Rod of Ages, they've lost Baron, they've lost all their turrets, the 10-stack Rod of Ages doesn't matter. So he has to buy the insurance to actually be able to get to a phase as Pawn Ghosts. Okay, yep, they want to kill Nautilus.
Yeah, and Score's going to land the Q as well. Resonating Strike's going to get him there, and in goes Pawn, throws down the Nether Grasp, and they're like, well, Cuve's been free food, let's just take him out again.
And the reason why they're so confident, look at the build, going for Frozen Heart and has Ninja Tabi, no magic resist at all, being forced into sitting in the null zone.
And he has to do this as well. If he's against a Jinx and he's playing frontline, there's no way he can't be building armor, so Pawn just capitalizes.
But both teams do the smart thing. Nautilus builds the right items. KT reacts to that and actually takes the one step ahead. They're the one with their foot in the door of a grand final telecom war, something that has been denied from us since summer of 2015. And this one's got all the superstars in it as well.
Oh yeah, and KT, if they play like they're playing today, this could be a very different SKT-KT matchup from the one that we saw in the middle of the year. Of course, the 2 that we saw in the middle of the season.
Definitely going to be, if we do see it, one of those matches where the prediction really holds so little. You know, this is sort of game where, from what I've seen, it has to be Samsung. And I was personally on Samsung 3-1. You were Samsung 3-0.
Yeah, I was a Samsung 3-0. I'll say it right now. I didn't expect this from KT
But you do the checks and balances. You do your research, and that's what's suggested. You look past the superstar names because you've been hurt 3-4 times in the second round robin.
We've been burnt, man. We've put so much into this.
And KT fans know all about that, of course. Yeah. But then, for example, you get to the final, and Game 1 especially, I think, sets the tone because you finally see, was it just a one-day thing and Samsung not being ready for what KT was going to throw out, or is it something bigger than that? But again, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Telecom War is not inked just yet, but your mind does start to wander after all.
It certainly does, especially when KT are on the brink of a 3-0, which is such a huge statement as Wraith. Oh, he is going to be able to help take that one down and score. We'll have to safeguard his way out. There's the teleport, actually, from Smeb. Decent position as Samsung are getting themselves around here as well. They will take out this ward, and Smeb now all the way on the other side of the map. Can he get up here? Dredgeline misses Mata.
Yeah, wave clear is not fantastic. Don't have static shift, for example, on the Jinx. So when it comes to wave clear, they kind of need the Kennen threat, and they don't respect Kennen at all, given that he is going to be returning to showing on the bot side.
Yeah, and what were we talking about? That Samsung now grouping up, and Stitch has the items that he needs. Probably wants QSS next, but he is well and truly ready to do damage if he can stay away from Pawns Malzahar.
And while we talked about Kennen peeling largely in team fights, this needs to be Kennen diving, because if Kalista free hits in the backline, we know how those problems snowball with the nature of Rend. So it's going to be awkward positioning-wise. They don't have deletion Kennen. They do have CC Kennen as, well, maybe it's going to be a non-factor as their kind of backdoor, I guess you would say, the Drake.
Yeah, as Deft now on his own against 4 members. This turret may not necessarily be enough to keep him alive, but good wave clear. Something that you often underestimate with a Jinx at this stage of the game.
Pawn has the latitude to go top, so far Samsung has let a Drake go down by kind of napping and focusing on mid, and now they're letting Pawn just sit top and farm. KT are getting away with little different times where if Samsung is 2-0 up, they don't give that same amount of rope to KT.
And they're leaving just enough defense to hold up these turrets as well. Exactly what they need in order to capitalize elsewhere and still put themselves in a position where things are okay. Able to hold on, but Samsung, I really like that they're testing the waters, trying to create opportunities and being proactive, because often when you are this far on the ropes, you don't want to be the guy that throws it all away. You don't want to make that proactive play, and often that just means you roll over and die. So we're certainly not doing that here. Samsung, they do need to have one of these aggressive moves to actually work out. Otherwise, it will all be for nothing.
But would you call what they did an aggressive move? It was grouping is certainly an aggressive action in nature.
I guess they forced the teleport, you know?
They grouped, they forced the teleport, but after that, they kind of meandered around a Drake, then meandered around mid, while KT got free farm and ideal lane setups in multiple situations. So, again, we're waiting for the aggression. We know Samsung is capable of it. But is Samsung 0-2 down in an elimination semifinal capable of it? That much still remains to be seen.
Yeah. Well, Papa as well, we were correct. It is actually AD Cannon. It's just being played in the top lane by Smeb. I do love this build. Probably going to go for the Phantom Dancer, or you could opt in for a bit more of that AoE.
They're probably going to be in quite a few tussles, whether it's with Graves or Rise when it comes to trading autos. So I think Phantom Dancer is...
It's what he built last game. Did work out quite well just before he picked up his Frozen Mallet.
A lot of carries, even AD carries, have been not able to go Hurricane anymore. They kind of need the Phantom Dancer for the dueling advantage it gives you.
Oh god, he's so far ahead. 2,000 gold in the lead. Already over 100 CS up at 23 minutes in the game, Papa Smithy.
And there's no asterisk of sick Nautilus teleport led to a turret.
And he built a straight up with sand when he went back.
Okay. Well, he really wants to kill Nautilus then.
He has got a lot of attack speed. He's now scored.
Nautilus going to back, looking for a teleport ward. When you look up there, there's one around the enemy Raptors, but that's really the only entry point. Nautilus waiting, because he's going to rush back bottom lane, so no teleport Nautilus flank coming for now.
And I really like it. KT all back away when they can't see the Nautilus QV back in base. They do not want to give themselves over to some sort of home guard teleport shenanigans. So Smeb reports that he's gone, continues his work on the bottom side of the map, and now notices that, yep, I can stun him if he tries to teleport. You are well and truly able to go for that 4v4, ladies and gentlemen.
Doesn't have vision on Stitch just yet. Only now.
The depth charge, so in goes Stitch. This could be a problem, but oh, Smeb just wants it. QSS comes down, and Stitch won't be stunned out of this. That's another kill for the Kalista.
Yeah, bringing back 2015. Kalista, 2 items, QSS, Jinx in a game as well. This time, reckless abandon for Smeb. We've seen him split push with a lead and not have adequate ward coverage before. Falls true to the same factor. Is it going to change the game? Probably not, given that he's already in a Flame Horizon position once again, only 3 CS away from it himself. But KT have a good setup around the top side, and Blade the Ruined King and a Jinx. You got to keep that vision up on Baron, because you never know how long it's going to take for a Malzahar Jinx to kill a Baron.
Oh yeah. Deft now looking for his 3rd item as well. Probably will be that triple attack speed, sorry. So he will be ripping through Cuvée so fast. Him and Smeb, I mean, Cuvé's butter this stage. Forced to build that Spirit Visage after getting ganked by Pawn, doesn't want to be open to that anytime they want it.
And it's kind of genius in build order, because you build the Wit's End, and Cuvé's like, oh, okay, well, I really need Magic Resist, and then Deft, knowing that, goes the next stage and goes, well, don't need a Last Whisper, do I?
Yeah.
He's going to have to straddle the line between Armor and Magic Resist. I go double Zeal item, which is the gold standard for DPS with the Blade of the Ruined King build, and kill the Nautilus anyway, so the rock, paper, scissors is real when it comes to items, and it feels like KT's got rock.
Yep, good aggression here from Samsung, though. Push up that mid lane, grab that outer turret finally, but Smeb looking for the flanking play, landing a lot of stun onto Ambition. Starts it as Cuvé's just going to get stunned up. Score looking for the kickback, but he takes so much damage. Smeb now going to get turned on as Deft is untouched in the backline. Oh no, the rocket's not going to land. His Crown has already taken down Smeb. Score's going to die. Stitch going nuts, and here's the snowball, but it's for Samsung. The double kill as Mata falls, and Samsung Galaxy, they look at the Baron and say, oh, we've got a Kalista. Ain't no one stealing this.
And both of them have the hyper carry. KT don't have dive outside of Lee Sin and Kennen, and all their ults were down, so they were just able to have Kalista free hit in the backline. They've smited already, but they do have Rend.
Yep, Deft has a lot of range here as well as Crown's going low. Deft picks up the kill. He gets excited. Cuvée has the Titan's Wrath, but look at this damage. Rend is going to get the Baron, and now Deft is in trouble. Ambition taking it, but Stitch. Oh, Deft turns it around, picks up the double. Is the zap going to be the no? Cuvé's alive for the moment, but there's the kill as Pawn picks it up. They do have one more Baron, but the zap. Oh, Ambition gets home. Deft almost saves it completely, but at least Samsung have one Baron.
Vintage Deft coming through, the extra zeal, the difference, extra attack speed over his opponent. We'll watch the replay. Remember that both teams have a time bomb at the back, Kalista and Jinx. And Jinx is not able to put out the DPS here. Stitch gets to freely turn on to the one person that can really shut down a Kalista. And this is where you're like, okay, Samsung's finally done it. 3 quick picks. They turn on to Baron, low health bars, but it's only a Malzahar and a Jinx. Admittedly, an AP Malzahar, not a support Malzahar. So they lead with the smite, get a bit of extra HP onto their jungler. That actually wasn't a bad smite. He needed the HP because they knew the harass would come in.
And they knew that they had a smite in the Rend.
Crown dies again, worth it if they can take the Baron. The Baron goes down, but here's where it gets exciting. Deft turns into minigun actually to get the attack speed up. Not losing any autos onto Stitch, and the extra autos because of the minigun attack speed and also the zeal. Deft's understanding of his damage output with minigun and also the extra zeal is why Jinx was always his spirit animal.
Certainly is. 3-0-3 now. Phantom Dancer picked up. Now has the Last Whisper, so doesn't even care about any armor items. That's a Hurricane done for Smeb. So he has
front door.
Big Realm Warp from Samsung. As now everyone has to go back. Deft is going to find Cuvée. He's doing a lot of damage. See, now with all of those items, it's a good move. But look at this. The inhibitor's being taken down. Massive knock-up with that Fate's Call as Wraith is going to follow. Score grabs that one kill back with the help of Pawn, but that inhib's gone. Oh my god.
Sick Realm Warp, one of the best we've seen, but the fight still goes.
Yep, is Deft going to get here in time is the real question. They have taken down Ambition. Crown gets one back, but here comes Deft. And down goes Stitch. Cuvée, he's in no man's land at this stage. There's a tower still there, buddy, but good slow. And he's going to have to tank up more of this turret. Can KT actually repair any of this damage done, though, in the time that they've got, as Cuvée is running them on a merry chase around Summoner's Rift. Beautiful knock-up. And not going to get slowed. Look at this guy go.
His tank play is undeniable, but the chase will keep coming. They'll keep coming.
Very cute from Mata. Just
buying a lot of
him
time.
back.
That was what you can say about this. It's a bit of a hollow victory, but all that Cuvée can really hope for at this point.
And it needs to be Deft that gets this kill, otherwise it's just not worth it. And there it is. But that's bought all the time for those Deft chances.
That was the best series of play we have seen all series long. Some really smart play. The Realm Warp there is on the same level as the Realm Warp that Bjergsen famously did, sending his team into Baron, because he rotated the entire minion wave into the turret. Remember, minions do go through when you do the Realm Warp, not just the champions that are there, and they didn't have to wait for the minions to crash, so suddenly KT are instantly out of position. If those minions have to walk up, they get their reinforcements in the right spot. They push through the mid lane with Jinx, and you get some parity with the Realm Warp. It's genius stuff from Samsung. They get the inhibitor, then they're overextended. They do give away picks, but it is still a one-for-one trade, and that hasn't really been the trades. It's cool seeing trades across the map rather than this KT hitting on Samsung with Samsung having no answer.
Yeah. And look, Stitch, he's picked up his Bloodthirster, and this is exactly what a Kalista wants to get to. The double lifesteal so that as soon as you're bouncing around a fight, you are unable to be killed unless you're locked down.
I've got good news. Guess what? QSS builds into a lifesteal item as well, so the lifesteal is going to start amplifying.
That's triple. It's going to be double as well for Deft, as he's also got his QSS building towards that Mercurial Scimitar, but I just love it. We're watching these AD carries waiting for who is going to get that way into the next fight. Of course, Pawn as well. I mean, he's 4-1-7. The Malzahar just been chilling in the back line, picking up advantage after advantage.
Yeah, the Liandry's will come in. The reason why it's a really good time for the AP Malzahar is...
Oh, Score was looking for Stitch, but gets locked down. Cuvée once again is going to get a lot of this focus as Redemption is there. Doubles come down as Cuvée is going to get killed by Score. Big Redemption for the work, and look at Stitch. Crown's got locked up, and he's going to fall. Smeb grabs that kill, and KT still just team fighting like gods. The flash forward. Smeb wants Stitch so bad, and Pawn's going to take down Wraith as an afterthought. Ambition. These Malefic Visions are really hurting now, and KT moves so fast with this triple cloud. What can they get off these 3 picks?
The more important visions are visions of a Telecom War final. KT pushing through the mid lane. Still 30 seconds on Crown. Stitch out of position, has a Hurricane, but no more wave clear. I don't know if the game will end here, but it might be close.
Ambition has been stopped. It's only Stitch in the base.
They're gonna look for the end.
They're trying to go for it. Stitch, can he actually get the work done as Ambition? He can find Mata, but has Mata bought enough time to try and win this game? First tower falls down, the minigun doing work, but KT decide no. They don't want to push it through this time. And game number 3, Papa Smithy, it is still feeling so close, even with a 5,000 gold lead.
It now ends up being a trade of inhibitors down. Of course, one prepped by Samsung earlier, now one for KT. Usually in that spot, you're never expecting the game to end. But remember, between Smeb and Deft, you have a ludicrous amount of attack speed items already completed. So however long it feels like it takes to take down Nexus turrets had been changed. KT, they had 3 Mountain Drakes. This game is probably over. Instead, they have the 3 Cloud Drakes, so they have very good acquisition of the first target. And kiting backwards is almost impossible because someone is getting slowed down, and Malzahar ults from there. The next pick comes through from the Jinx. Jinx, when you get excited, if you're not in combat especially, which can't happen admittedly, but when it comes to movement speed for rotations and infights, feels like she's always excited when you have 3 Cloud Drakes.
And now, as soon as the triple lifesteal's bought up for Stitch, the Mortal Reminder is completed for Deft. That timing is beautiful for the KT80 carry, but still, these two are so close. 6-2-2, 5-0-7. A little bit of a lead now for Deft in the CS, but it's almost starting to not matter. 5 items on both AD carries, both with all that they need so far as Ambition gets kicked back. Oh no, he's being caught up. Big wild growth though, he survives for the moment as Pawn's going to be able to grab it. Super Mega Death Rocket not going to be able to get the kill as Cuvée flashes, but Score follows through. Realm Walk gets everyone out on the side of Samsung, but Score's still chasing down the big titan of the depths. He is eventually able to get himself relatively clear, but look at the Flame Chompers. That completely singles him out. And KT with 2 picks will be able to do whatever they want.
Now Crown's overextended as well. He walked up.
Oh no, and the Realm Walk is most certainly down. Has to flash to get out of the way. KT still can't actually head into the base, remember, as Stitch is going to be able to pull. No, he can't! Oh my god, Deft, that damage!
This could be it. They're pushing through the mid.
They are, and it's only Wraith left alive. Of course, Crown had already fallen, and there it is. That's the ace, and this is going to be KT with the 3-0 sweep. over Samsung, the team that was in clear second place, looking like the best team in Korea moving into this series, and the grand final is going to be epic. They're on the fountain, and it's all over.
KT woke up with a dream. Samsung only now waking up. It was a nightmare for them. KT Rolster rewrite the recent form, rewrite the trends. Questions from the analysts are gone. KT Rolster showed up on the day. 2 different squads couldn't pick up a single victory against KT Rolster, and now we get the super-powered telecom war we thought was gone a month ago. That he's laning against Smeb, who, before that famous victory for Samsung that took them to Worlds, had always had the advantage over QV, and they've had a great season. Haru now has an asterisk on his head. He's going to have to come back a reborn man after once again criticisms will come his way. Sad end for Samsung's season, but ecstasy for KT Rolster.